Weird.
Weird. Weird. It is so weird. People are so like weird. That's weird. You're weird.
Talk about weird.
Are we weird?
Talk about weird.
Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. It is me, Wicked. I am a wicked woman. Don't say I didn't warn you. Hopefully you're wicked too and you're here to join me in the fuckery. Today I was scrolling around on the TikTokers, and lately I've been going to TikTok to find content, so I've been looking up like kind of inflammatory tags, and I wanted to check out the infamous skinny TikTok, you know? So I typed in skinny TikTok and I was met with this warning ad, not an ad, but a message of concern. And, you know, rightfully so, it's totally fine. My feelings aren't hurt by it. But, of course, you know, one gets curious, and I thought, well, what happens when I type in fat TikTok? And of course, I type in fat TikTok and a bunch of videos pop up. No message of concern, nothing like that. So I'm just gonna go through the videos in order, and this is on top. And, you know, I'll give my opinion. We'll see what we think about this. So let's go. This is Hayes Cray. That's cute.
You know what? You know what? You know what?
Oh, time out. I'm sorry. I need to hook up my headphone. God. These ones are older, so I have to do it manually. My iPod earpods, AirPods, what the fuck are they? My AirPods just paired automatically to whatever I was listening to, but these ones do not. Okay.
Stay. It's okay if you need to go and get you a little ice cream from Sonic. It is okay. It's okay if you can't sit in your Sonic parking lot and enjoy your ice cream and you have to go find some random ass parking lot because the fucking kids at the Sonic make fun of you every fucking time you go. It's okay.
Is this real?
As if I'm not depressed enough.
This is sad. I think we need a message of concern from TikTok. Baby girl, don't cry. Baby girl, take your ice cream home and enjoy
I don't know whether to laugh or cry.
You can put it in the freezer so it's nice and chilled.
I'm doing both. I'm doing both.
Cry.
Enjoy.
Is this real?
You know what?
Was that real? Do you think that was an act? Do you think she was really crying? That's friggin' sad. They make fun of her at Sonic? That's real mean. Don't make fun of people, dude. Don't make fun of... It's one thing to have commentary or reactions to people that are putting content online, but don't make fun of people in real life. That's just weird. That's stupid. I understand she said these were kids, but hopefully they'll learn. That's mean. Poor thing. Don't cry, baby girl. Take your ice cream home. I like to stick it in the freezer so that it's like fresh. You know what I mean? Like if I get a Frosty, I feel like by the time you get home, it's already getting like that little ring of melted ice cream around it. So you gotta stick it in the freezer, eat the rest of your food, and then you eat it when it's nice and chilled.
I like that I'm fat. I like the soft parts of my body. I like the fact that I can't feel my bones. I didn't know that was a thing. I like that I'm fat.
I mean, I'd argue being obese is way more uncomfortable. Okay, all right, let's see what she has to say.
I like the soft parts of my body. I like the fact that I can't feel my bones. I didn't know that that was a thing. I saw someone talk recently how she lost a whole bunch of weight and she can feel her bones now. I didn't think that y'all could do that. Low key, it gave me a little bit of an ick. Like, and the thin people in the comments are like, what do you mean you couldn't feel your bones? Like, girl, no. When I put my legs together, I don't feel the bones between them. When I sit down, there's no problem with like, my bones hitting the ground or whatever. The only problem with being fat is the way that people treat me. Like, if y'all weren't so gross to fat people, it wouldn't be that bad. I like that I'm fat.
This is something that I find throughout the fat acceptance community. It's the idea that there's no in between. You're either overly thin or you are fat. There's no in between. There's no healthy middle. And, you know, I think most people are talking about a healthy middle. And that doesn't even mean that you need to be the perfect body weight. It just means maybe you're not obese. Maybe you're just overweight. You know, maybe you're like a healthy weight, maybe a little overweight, but you're not underweight. That's not what people are advocating for. And that's where your bones are sticking out. And yes, when you're a healthy weight, there are certain bones that you can feel. You know, you can feel your jaw bones in your head. You know, you can feel like my collarbones aren't jutting out. I don't look skeletal, but I can feel that I have bones under there, you know, like if I can feel a rib bone when I do this, but it's like I'm not skeletal, you know. It's weird. This is just a very weird connotation that there's no healthy middle. And I feel like people like me, I am advocating for a healthy middle. I'm not advocating for people to hurt themselves and become overly thin. And the same thing for being overly fat, you know. It's okay to be a little overweight. It is. It's totally fine. But when you move into obesity, class 1, class 2, morbid obesity, you are doing an act of self-harm, just as you would be as if you were starving yourself. There's a healthy middle. It's okay if you enjoy your body with more body fat. That's fine. There's a lot of people that do. You know, a lot of women have 25% body fat, you know, and that's a pretty healthy range, you know. 30% body fat's pretty healthy too, you know. But when you start getting into like 40 and 50% body fat, that becomes encumbering on your body. And the discomfort in being obese is having to hold your breath to bend over and tie your shoes, not being able to walk out to the mailbox without feeling winded. These are my experiences that I'm speaking of because I was class 2 obese for a while. And these are the things that I personally struggled with. I enjoy hiking, I enjoy backpacking, and, you know, when I went out backpacking with my friends at class 2 obese, I ended up sick, like heat stroke sick, you know, and that never happened to me before. So that's what I believe people are talking about when they say that, you know, being obese is way more uncomfortable. They're not talking about being underweight, you know, as opposed to being obese. They're talking about being a healthy middle. Wow, people have no nuance.
This is what being over 500 pounds looks like. This too. And this. Hi there. I'm Michaela. I am newly on my GLP-1 journey to lose weight and get healthy. And it's somebody that's over 500 pounds. This is part of my journey. It's part of my story. And I wanted to document it because honestly, I'm not great about taking these kind of photos so that I can look back and hopefully see my progress, both how I feel, but also how I look. Sometimes the scale doesn't show it, and photos like these, hopefully, or videos like these will. It's certainly not the glamorous side of being overweight. I'm not really sure what is, but
this is my reality, is that I'm not super comfortable behind the wheel of my car. I'm down 20 pounds, and I will tell you, I'm much more comfortable than I was 20 pounds ago. But hopefully, as my journey goes on, we'll see how different I look. So, thanks for stopping by. Hopefully, you're on your journey and doing well. Talk to you soon.
More importantly,
Bye.
I hope she feels better. She says, we'll see how different I look. I want to know how different she feels. I bet you anything she's going to feel a lot better. Less out of breath, less winded, less tired. So good for her. Good for her. Now, I noticed this search in the corner. Do you see it says in the corner, search 500-pound giantess? I have to. What shows up? Seems like this one particular girl. I don't want to watch her eat. Okay, all right. Back. Let's watch this one.
Happened to me, right? And I'm not gay. But obviously I'm fat, and I didn't really think that. As a fat / plus size person, no matter what I'm about to say to you, somebody's gonna get angry, so just know that I don't care. Obviously being this way, I've had some crazy things happen to me that I didn't even know were a thing, or that I just never even thought about. And I do take 100% responsibility for how I got here, obviously. I blame a little bit of it on my PCOS, but at the end of the day, I take responsibility. So I'm about to tell you one of the stories that has happened to me that honestly just grinds my gears. Things that I think most of the things that happen to me because I'm a bigger person are hilarious. Sometimes they do give me anxiety, like going to Disney World or something like that. But like for the most part, I just think everything's funny. Like I'm
so distracted that she did one little mark on her eye and has not finished. Like, girl, do the fucking makeup while you're talking, please.
But here we go.
There we go. Good
We're
girl.
going to start off fairly easy. I'm going to tell you about the time when I was in high school and I wanted to get my blood drawn, right? Okay, so basically when I was in high school 4 years ago, I was a senior, and they had these like blood drives every year, and I was always so excited. I was like, oh my God, like a good cause, like me giving blood. Like I have whatever universal blood is. I don't know at the moment. I just know that that's what I have, right? So I was like, oh my God, like this is great, blah, 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 blah. Like I'm so excited. And I wait in line for 3 hours. 3 hours at school. Honestly, I don't care because I got out of class and like, who cares? And I was, talking with my friends and like, we're cutting up, whatever. And like, it had been like an outrage around the school that like, you couldn't get your blood drawn if you were gay and like all this other stuff. And so I was just like, damn, like that's crazy. Not expecting shit like that to happen to me, right? And I'm not gay. But obviously I'm fat, and I didn't really think that had anything to do with it,
I like the freckles.
So I go down there.
Very cute.
I'm very excited. I'm like, yes, I sit down. She's asking me all these questions, and she's like, how much do you weigh? And at the time, I think I was like, I don't know, like 375. And she was like, oh, honey. And I was like, what? And she was like, I'm going to have to ask you the rest of these questions because I can't stop. And I'm going to tell you right now, you can't donate blood. And I was like, why? I was literally, my wheels were turning. I was like, damn, you would have thought that somebody would have told me that you can't donate blood if you're fat. Like, I had no idea. And so I'm sitting there angry, and I'm just like, why did nobody tell me? Like, this is some BS. And she goes, no, honey, like, it's not because you're fat. It's because you exceed the weight limit for the chair. The weight limit on the chair was like 250, and I was like, checks out. This is my villain origin story right here. Right here!
Oh my God.
Fat /
My wheels were turning like, oh man, is there like more cholesterol in the blood or something? Like maybe there's something in the blood when you're too fat. That's so funny. Oh God, that was a long story. Her makeup was really cute though. All right, let's do this one.
So I'm late to this trend, but I would like to do a round of things I experience as a fat person that would send my thin friends into a coma. Forget how I look. I just got done the gym. That's the first thing.
You know what? I knew that. I could tell. Her shirt says power, and it looks like a very sporty shirt, and she looks a little sweaty, and I'm not saying that to be mean at all. I'm not saying that to be mean at all, but I was like, damn, she looks like she came back from the gym.
All of these
Is she
skinny people
powerlifting?
who look at me like I don't belong in the gym, who visibly stop focusing on their workout or minding their own business to stare at the fat girl walking into the
Things
gym.
that didn't happen for 500.
You want us to lose weight, but then when we're in the gym, you look at us like it's some kind of zoo and we're an exotic species. Number 2. Basic human decency and not getting it. Yeah, my thin friends take for granted that they can go anywhere and do pretty much anything that they want. I can't. I had to drive from Maryland to Jersey. Not had to. I chose to drive from Maryland to Jersey to try on wedding dresses because I knew that the store I was going to would have sizes that would actually fit me. Not would just like go on my body and give me some kind of...
You had everything that you needed to be able to make that happen. You had a vehicle, you had gas, you had the money, you should be happy. And there's accessible places for you just because they're not everywhere. Like, I don't see the problem there.
distorted view of what the dress would look like, but dresses that would actually flatter my body and give me an idea of what I could look like on my wedding.
I'm 5 feet tall. Do you think I can go try on a dress and have it look normal on me? No. I had to get my wedding dress custom tailored to fit my body.
Day, instead of kind of
No
having
one's in a
gamble
coma.
on the real fit of wedding dress. You know, getting that look of pity when you go to do something and you can't. You know, you get on a ride, you try and get on a ride at an amusement park and you can't. And people pity you. People look at you like, oh, look at that poor fat person. They can't do the normal things that we do. Feel bad for them. It would
Okay,
kill.
this is the thing. This person is projecting quite a bit. A lot of the stuff that they've talked about talks about looks, and then she is guessing what the person is thinking. So this is your projection. This is what you perceive other people are doing. And you have no proof that that's what they're thinking or that's what they're doing. Unless somebody literally points and says, ha ha, look at that fat person, you don't know what their looks mean. I mean, humans by nature are pretty nosy. So if there is any kind of hubbub, any kind of a holdup or a happening, people talking or conversing, a lot of times people are just going to look because they're like, what's going on over there? Oh, they can't get on the ride? Oh, I wonder why. Maybe they weren't feeling good. It looks like they didn't fit. Okay. Well, we'll just wait for that to wrap up and then we'll get going. Like, that's usually what people are doing. You can't just assume that they're looking at you because you're fat and because they don't like you. And if you are assuming that, it is saying more about you and how you feel about yourself than them, you know? Unless somebody actually says something to you, and those words do include, like, you're fat. You know, you can't just assume that that's what's going on. Assumptions make an ass out of you and me.
All of the thin people that I know. And the thin privilege that people just walk around with and have no idea that they have it. Some of the things they say to people that they love. One of my best friends, when I had lost maybe 20, 30 pounds at one point, told me if I kept losing weight, maybe I'd be able to keep up with her because she's a long-legged person and she walks fast. And, I'm always lagging behind her. And she's like, well, if you keep losing weight, you'll be able to keep up with me.
It's true.
The audacity of that. And I can't even speak about this in a normal way. I have to use this filter because if I don't use this filter and maybe make this a little bit funny sounding, nobody's going to watch it because nobody cares. The end. That would put them in a coma.
No one's in a coma, dear. I'm sorry. That was all ridiculous. A lot of that's projection. Her friend maybe shouldn't have said that, Unless your friend comes to you and says, I want to lose weight, this is what I'm doing. You shouldn't pressure people in that way. It's one thing to encourage and to lead by example, but, that is kind of a pick on kind of way. Like, well, maybe if you keep losing weight, you can keep up with me. But who knows if that's really even how she said it. And maybe she noticed that her friend was faster. And so she thought, man, if you lose a little bit more weight, you'll be even faster. So, there's this person assuming that her best friend immediately meant something terrible, I think a lot of this is a projection. That's not to say that there aren't shitty people out in the world. There are. And there are people that are mean to fat people. But unless somebody actually says words that are clearly, derogatory because you're fat, you can't assume that that's what they meant. If somebody looks at you and says nothing, you cannot go about your life saying, they looked at me because I was fat. Nope, I just know it. I just know it. You can't do that. That is a good way to look at the world. It's like you have a victim mentality. It's like every interaction you have is painted with that, that looking for that. Well, were they looking at me weird? I'm sure it's because I was fat. It just proves that you're not comfortable in your body and in yourself. And, it's okay to be fat and comfortable. You don't owe people health, but you also can't put words in people's mouths or put thoughts in people's minds.
Gonna have a pillow over my stomach. I'm fat, so I'm never gonna assume I'm fat. So I make sure that I'm never the first one to suggest that we go out to eat. I'm fat, so I'm not going to take a second helping until someone else does. I'm fat, so I'm always going to check and see if a chair can hold me before I sit down. I'm fat, so I'm going to ask for a seatbelt extender on the airplane. I'm fat, so most necklaces aren't going to fit me without an extender. I'm fat, so most people who are attracted to me view it as a fetish. I'm fat, so I have a bad relationship with a lot of the older women in my family. I'm fat, so if I'm uncomfortable or meeting someone new, I'm gonna have a pillow over my stomach. I'm fat, so I'm never gonna assume someone's attracted to me or ask someone out unless they make it clear to me that they're interested. I'm fat, so I make sure that I'm never the first one to say.
Sad. I mean, obviously I don't think she's lying or anything. There's nothing wrong with this video, but it's just kind of sad to know that people are fetishizing you, question if people are really genuine in their attraction or care for you, to be embarrassed to not have a pillow in front of you. And I totally get that because I still will put a pillow in front of me sometimes. I feel like it's just comforting for a lot of, it's like crossing your arms. It's like a guarding thing. So, I don't think that that's exclusive to fat people, but I totally get it. I do think that when you gain a little belly weight, especially as a woman, that's definitely a thing. The pillow in front of the belly is a thing, and I get it. But yeah, a lot of these statements are just kind of sad. And it makes me wonder, why does being fat mean that you have a bad relationship with the older women in your family? That's also kind of sad.
Welcome to my 300-pound life. After doing a big stretch, I hopped out of bed and made it, even though I did not want to. My duvet cover was fighting me here, but all in all, she turned out looking okay. I made some breakfast for myself, a whole wheat bagel with cream cheese and lox and berries, and I ate while watching the Today Show, which is something I love to do most weekday mornings. I took my Adderall and Lexapro. Be sure to take your meds if you haven't already, as well as tried this nasal spray for the first time.
Because if I skip mine for a day, I get the head zaps. I'm like, ugh. Like, don't do it. Take your meds daily, girls and boys.
I've had post-nasal drip for a month, and it's currently settled in my ears, and I can't hear anything. Yay! I then spent the majority of my day working from home. I am the communications manager of a nonprofit, so I had to do some work for social media, our newsletter, our branding launch, etc. Okay, now back to the fun stuff. I got my Spotify Wrapped. Here's my top artist and my top podcast. And in case you were wondering, I'm a Profo girl. Still not sure how I feel about that. I finally changed out of my pajamas later in the day and decided that I really needed to clean my room. I have ADHD and I'm always going somewhere, doing something, so it gets like this pretty often. It wasn't perfect, but it became much more manageable, which I will take. Then it was time to leave the house for therapy, except I live in Buffalo, New York, which means I had to layer the fuck up and snow brush my car first. I grabbed a quick Subaki wrap and went to the office only to realize that my therapist texted me earlier in the day to let me know she's sick and had to cancel, and I missed it. But I recently saw
That's why I like telehealth therapy.
About how just talking out loud and filming it is a form of therapy for her. And so I tried that in lieu of my actual therapy. And while it wasn't the same, I'd be lying if I said that it didn't make me feel at least a little bit better. Then I popped into Whole Foods to pick up a couple of my favorite granola bars since I was out, and then went to the gym where my AirPods promptly died on me. So I did a musicless workout, but actually it was nice because I was able to really focus on my breath work more. I got home to a package I ordered from Axiology with their shape stick in it, so I cannot wait to use that very soon. Then I made and ate dinner and settled in for an evening of cutting out my vision board photos and watching an old episode of New Heights. Yes, of course I am a Swiftie, but I'm also an NFL girly, so I'm honestly surprised it's taken as long as it has for me to watch this show. It was so good. It's time for bed, so I put my scalp psoriasis meds on, turned the lights out, and told myself just one more chapter for longer than I'd care to admit. Good night. Welcome to my 300-pound life.
Is she doing a weight loss journey? Her day of eating looked really good. Her food looked delicious. I want to see her page. Oh my God, can you hear my dog? She's so cute. I love her. Zumba. I'm trying to find the one that I just watched. Let's go to that one. Okay. Sweet. If somebody's at a class to be physically active, leave them the fuck alone. Unless you're like encouraging them or welcoming them into the class. But don't talk about what they're wearing. Don't talk about how they're doing the moves. They're fucking there. And like somebody else said, it's like, I'll start with this. I personally have not seen any fitness creators, fitness reactors that I watch that negatively talk anybody of any size that come into the gym, go to a class, do anything working out. If that said person is promoting an activity and maybe promoting it in the wrong form or fashion or being misleading about it, that's when the criticism comes in. But just a fat person doing an activity or being at a class, that's, most of the time, at least the people that I watch, they're not going to just be like, you're fat, get out of here. They're going to be like, hell yeah, that's awesome, do it again. So I want to preface with that. But if you are the type of person to see a larger bodied person at like a yoga class or Pilates or whatever and think, ugh, they shouldn't be here, You shouldn't be there. Fuck out of here with that attitude. That's lame, you know? Anyway, I'm not going to go too far into her content. I just kind of wanted to see if she was on a weight loss journey, but I'll watch a couple more and then I think I'll be done.
My name is Jonna, and I am a plus size girl who has chronic pain. I'm just gonna be blunt. Going to the doctor is like one of my biggest fears of all time. But my hip pain has reached a point that like it's not bearable. Like I don't want to get emotional. It's bad. It's really painful. So I am now back at the doctor who low-key kind of traumatized me 4 years.
A lot of times when you have hip pain, it's, what do they call it? The something chain, connective chain. Your muscles and your ligaments are all connected together. So she's got, you know, she carries her weight in the front and that will kind of pull on your front. And a lot of people will get more of a sway back posture. And that can cause like a forward hip tilt, which can cause your psoas, I believe it is. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a physical therapist. I've just learned this through researching my own issues. But it will cause your psoas, I believe it is, to get tight, and it can cause really bad hip pain. I deal with chronic hip pain almost on a daily basis, and one of the things that really helped the most is fixing your posture and abdominal core strength and doing a lot of hip glute strengthening and stuff like that. So unfortunately, I do believe that her losing weight would help her hip pain, even though I know she doesn't want to hear that, because it would alleviate that pull on her, you know, where her belly's pulling on her front. So it's not to be hateful to her in any way. You know, I'm sure she's a lovely person, but just physiologically, physically, I feel like that might be contributing to it.
Go. That specific doctor doesn't work here anymore. It's just an orthopedic clinic. I already know what they're going to say. They're going to be like, you're fat, lose weight. And to that, I'm going to tell them I am taking a GLP-1, which I'm not yet, but I am planning on it. I am going to. I've decided I'm going to pull the trigger and do it. Right now, my hope is just to go in there and get maybe like a referral to a physical therapist.
Yeah, that would be great.
Because my shit
The physical
hurts.
therapist
Also,
is going
need
to
set up-
have her doing stretches and strength exercises. They're probably going to talk about her posture. Also, if you sit a lot, I have a very sedentary job. I will sit and draw for hours at a time, and then I will sit and tattoo for hours at a time. And oftentimes I'm hunched. Like my posture is horrible. Like I often sit like this. I don't know if you can see me. I sit like this, like with my elbows on my knees, you know, crooked spines and crispy lines, baby. That's the way of the tattooer. Black t-shirt generation, man. But yeah, so I do feel like a lot of it has to do with posture, core strength, hip strength. Your core is literally, I believe, like from your knees all the way to your shoulders. You know, it's like your core is your middle, your butt, your thighs, your hips, your waist, everything. And it's a whole connected chain. You know, if you got a tight, now I'm not going to be able to IT band. If you have a tight IT band, it can literally feel like somebody's stabbing you in your knee and in your hip. It's horrible. So you get tight IT bands from having weak glutes. You get weak glutes from having poor posture, sitting a lot, you know, not firing those glute muscles when you're walking and stuff. Ask Anna Banana. Ask Anna, glitter and lasers. So I'm sorry. I keep interrupting this poor woman. She's very pretty.
An appointment with my primary care doctor so I can for real get on that GLP-1 because yeah, it's time. Anyway, wish me luck in this doctor. I'm getting nervous as fuck and I don't know, I want to make sure that I advocate for myself and stand my ground on what I want and don't let them just like bully me into talking about bariatric surgery like they did last time.
You don't have to do bariatric surgery.
Wish me luck. My name is Jonna, and
this is the thing. I do think that bariatric surgery, I know that it's a good tool for a lot of people, but I also have known a couple people that had it, that it was horrible. Like it really ruined their health. And I think that it is because it's not that the bariatric surgery ruined their health. It's that they were not in the position to where it was good for them to get it. They weren't in a good place mentally. And they even admitted, you know, in their head, they were still a fat person, even though they were in this thin body. And, you know, addiction switching is a thing that can happen. So, you know, if you're not in a good mental place, and if you're not taking care of the mental reasons why you're overeating, then bariatric surgery isn't going to help. Just like a GLP-1 won't. We've known a lot of the girls to eat through a GLP-1, and the best thing to do is to use a GLP-1 as a tool to help you overcome things like food noise and, you know, poor behavior patterns related to food and stuff. So I think coupling it with like a dietitian and therapy is where a lot of people should start. And then that way, when you remove the GLP-1, you have safeguards and tools in place to help you with the food noise and stuff that the GLP-1 was taking away. You're not flooded in with like all of this food noise, all of these thoughts, all of these cravings with like nothing in your tool bag to handle it. So anyway, I think I've been yapping for quite a bit. I just kind of wanted to see what fat TikTok offered, what we're allowed to see. You know, we're not allowed to see skinny TikTok. Not that I think it's really that necessary. I'm sure it's a bunch of negative and unhealthy messages swinging in the opposite direction. And for me, I don't think that that is where we should be. I think that we need to be promoting a healthy middle. You shouldn't be underweight. You shouldn't be bony. You shouldn't be skinny, you know. I guess skinny is relative. You can be skinny and healthy, but it's not about being under, you know. It's not about being super morbidly obese, and it's not about being dangerously thin, you know. It's about a medium, a healthy medium, and wherever that is, that's going to be a different place for a lot of people. You know, some people are going to carry more body fat, and some people are going to be a little bit more lean. That's fine. And, you know, a lot of times when people are talking about how, you know, being fat protects you, it's healthier, they're talking about the difference between being underweight and having a healthy amount of body fat. You know, they're not talking about being super morbidly obese. So anyway, what do you guys think? What do you think about them kind of blocking skinny talk and allowing fat TikTok? Because I literally typed in skinny TikTok and then fat TikTok. So it's, you know, exact opposites. What do you think of that? Like I said, I don't think it's necessary for skinny TikTok to be a thing. You know, it's unhealthy. We don't need to go back there. You know, if you lived through the 90s and early 2000s, we don't need to go back there. But I don't necessarily think we are going back there. But I think that Fat Talk would like us to believe that. It's, in my opinion, it's not a defiance to be fat. You're just hurting yourself. So anyway, thank you so much for joining me. I will be back with more crap to talk about later. Have a wonderful day. Bye.